I'm John.
I'm Rob.
And this is the Mint One podcast,
where we talk all things NFTs and the rise of blockchain gaming.
So Rob, all of next week it is AtomicHub Game Fest.
Indeed it is. Sponsored by Wax and Blumint, we see some of the best games on Wax.
Before we get into it, if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. It would be fantastic. And if you're on Apple or Spotify, 5-star podcast review would be awesome. And on Twitter, at Min1Pod, a follow would be lovely. Thank you very much. So, AtomicHub Game Fest, the first games festival of its kind for the Wax chain. Obviously, I'm intimately familiar with the ins and outs of the week ahead that we have for us. But Rob, what have you seen of Game Fest so far?
I like what I've seen. So there's a real mix of games. Wax, we've spoken about it before. Wax doesn't... I mean, no chain has a particularly broad roster of games. Like, you always want to see a wider selection. But Wax has got a handful of really, really strong games. And almost all of them are in this list. So I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, my picks... I'm not going to go into my picks. We'll save that. But I think it's looking good. I don't know. I'm going to leave all the info on prizes and things up to you, because all I've seen is it's over $3,000 worth of prizes and then some NFTs and stuff. It's looking good. I feel like we haven't had an event like this in general for a while, and obviously it's the first one on Wax.
Yeah, it's the first one on Wax, as you've said, and even thinking about other chains, your Polygons, your IMXs, I can't really recall a similar event to this, really. I mean, we've had like game-specific tournaments, and streamers have done the odd thing here and there, but I think this really is the first event of its kind. So very much looking forward to it. Headline info, as you said, it's over $3,000 US dollar prize pool. That's a mix of cryptocurrency and NFTs. Nice. From both AtomicHub and all the games taking part, and of course our sponsors Wax and Blumint. And every day for 7 days there will be a different game showcased. So let's go through the list.
Cool.
So day one, Monday, June 19th, we will have CritterCraft. Now, if you are a streamer or if you watch streams with the plethora of Wax influencers, you will know what CritterCraft is. So TLDR, the streamer will open it up, you type your name in chat or exclamation mark play or whatever the command is, and then you become this little kind of worm-like creature on the screen, and then there's a bunch of mini games, and you can type commands in chat to interact with your character, with the idea being that you are the last one standing. Have you played much CritterCraft, Rob?
I have. That is how we did basically every giveaway on our Twitch channel when we were streaming regularly. That is how we did the giveaways. And then on your stream, I've done... I always felt bad because I always wanted to... Every time you did one, I was like, well, I want to play that. I'd quite like to have a go at that. But then I also thought, if I win, it kind of looks dodgy. It just didn't seem fair for me to win. But I have seen a lot of it. These Twitch sort of almost plug-in style games are really picking up pace. A lot of big streamers are using them to engage with their viewers, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a number of I say traditional games. What I mean by that is non-Web3 that are building Twitch interactions directly into the game. For the life of me, I cannot remember the name of one, but there was this kind of stylized 2D one where viewers could vote for particular things that would happen in the game in chat, and that would affect the streamer's experience. I love that sort of thing, and it's kind of takes it a step further by getting the players directly involved, by moving their characters around. And not gonna lie, a lot of CritterCraft's minigames are luck based. I think that's by design, but you can give yourself that kind of... You can make it 51-49 instead of a 50-50 if you're very shrewd with your chat commands. So it's a lot of fun.
It's just fun. I mean, that's it. There isn't much more to say about it. It's fun, but it's also perhaps we should unpack that quickly. Is the giveaways? So it's a last man standing kind of flash style game. I don't know. I don't even know if the youngest generation would understand what I mean by a flash game.
Well, I know what a flash game is, so
it's like a browser game, a very easy to play browser game. But it's last man standing. So if you're on stream and you're doing a giveaway, rather than getting invaded by bots, or that it still can happen, it's just less likely. And having all these giveaway websites flooded with entries, you can just do a last man standing, and there's a visual. It's more visual. Like, even, do you remember when Blockchain Brawlers was doing the if you had the the pink battle tag, they did a spin to give away something, and even just the spin of like a roulette wheel just added something to a giveaway. But this is like one step further than that, and it's a last man standing where you're trying to control your bug from getting obliterated by a giant saw. If I remember rightly,
it's a much more fun way and a much more interactive way than playing, I don't know, marbles on stream or one of the many other tools that streamers use. So a little bit more information about the actual structure of the day. So it starts at 16 UTC on the Monday, and it runs all the way through till 2 a.m. UTC the next day. So it's 10 straight hours of CritterCraft tournaments. And the way we set it up is we have 10 streamers, 10 influencers in the Wax community lined up that are each going to do an hour slot each. Starting off with AtomicHub at 16 UTC, and we've got a whole bunch of people. We've got Super Dope, who's actually doing an hour. We do. We've got the Online In, we've got CS Sully, who's a pretty big Web3 influencer, Las Vegas Ape, Online In, Kitty, a whole bunch of people. So you can dip in and dip out, have some fun, and see whether you see how well you do. But as part of their day, they also have a drop on Launchpad, which is a brand new cosmetic that they're selling called a podium flag. So if you win, then you'll basically have a flag attached to your grubfish, or like sway in the wind, and just make your character look a little bit more unique if you are able to be successful. And it gives you double points for the actual tournament side of the event. So I think it's like $5 or something. So if you're serious about getting a larger share of that prize pool, then there you go. Cool. Let's move on to day 2, Tuesday, June the 20th, and this is Warsaken. Rob, have you played much of Warsaken?
I have. So we've done a few giveaways with Warsaken, and we streamed it regularly for a good month or two. As we were doing this, we kind of integrated it into the giveaway where we had Super Dope, incidentally, playing it. It's very cool. Obviously there's a lot of TCG style games in Web3, which we discussed before, and there's a few in this list. But I don't know what it is. It stands alone in my mind when it comes to a TCG. I don't know if it's the military vibe, which I can't think of another example of like a military TCG. It's just cool. It's good artwork. It's a fun game. And have they released their physical version yet? Because I know they were working on a physical like tabletop version.
Yeah, so they had their original Kickstarter, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago? And then they had a new Kickstarter about 6 months ago for a tabletop version. I believe that one met its goal.
I think it did, yeah.
I must admit, I'm not sure where they're at in terms of the real world stage of that. They have put out some videos lately of some like IRL Blitz gameplay, I believe. Coleman's starring in one of them.
Really
very high quality, aren't they? Yeah, they're superb.
It's a good game. I think it's kind of unique in what it is unique in the TCG genre. I'm just a fan. I'm a fan in general.
Yeah, it's a very fun experience, and if you're a fan of TCGs, CCGs, all that good kind of stuff, then you'll kind of know what to expect. But it is I think the theme of it's being military themed, set in this kind of post-apocalyptic, futuristic kind of world. It's very unique, and it's certainly an experience you can dive in. And on the lore side of things, and kind of the whole world that they've built around this Warsaken IP, they've done a really good job. It's a very high quality project. So the finals of the tournaments will take place on Tuesday. If you're listening to this now, the qualifiers have already taken place. So I think we've whittled it down to 8 players per region.
Right.
And then the finals will happen on Tuesday, and then those will be, of course, broadcast on Twitch. But also as part of their kind of spot in Game Fest, they're also holding a drop next week, which is for, and I don't have the link open for this because I'm a moron, so let's get that up very quickly. There we go. So they are selling booster packs. So if you have no idea about how to play Warsaken, you just want to get into the game quickly, you might have heard some things, but just want to dive in. That they're selling 18 card booster packs for $1 each.
Oh, nice.
For that day. So that gives you 18 cards, and then you can use the game's inbuilt kind of deck builder. It'll auto build your deck for you. So, you don't have to go buying a load of like 5-card packs and then figure out what the hell do I do with these. Just head to the AtomicHub Launchpad, drop $1 in credit card or in Wax or whatever, and then you'll have everything you need.
Nice.
So,
yeah, I like that.
There we go. Moving swiftly on to day 3 and blockchain brawlers. Now, I must admit I've not played blockchain brawlers. That's a tongue twister. For a while, but I did have some positive things to say about it when its kind of gameplay first went live. I think I streamed it a little bit. Have you had much of a chance to play blockchain brawlers, or have you played it much recently?
I haven't played it. I haven't played much in general in the past month or two, but I have played it on and off. It's, again, so like Warsaken, it's unique as a TCG, but for a different reason, and that is, gameplay mechanics, which if you're interested in learning more about that, I would listen to our episode with Michael Rubinelli, where I believe in that episode we discussed the kind of, it's kind of like a TCG mixed with poker. There's some sort of bluffing vibes and stuff. I never want to go too heavy on the promotion of blockchain brawlers because we are still listed as ambassadors, and I never want to be seen as shilling something. Not that we're paid to be ambassadors, so it's not really shilling. But it's good to see them involved in that. It's good to see them still pushing on with it, and I will definitely jump in on that day. So what's the format of that day? Has the qualifiers already happened? Have I missed it?
No, so this is kind of an open tournament. As with most of the games, they are open tournaments. I think Warsaken was the only one we had pre-qualifiers because of the huge amount of interest we had leading up to it. So, so for Europe, I think the actual gameplay starts at 16 UTC. Check-in's about an hour before that. For North America, I think it's 1 UTC, like 1 AM UTC, which is obviously much earlier than that in NA places. With again checking about an hour earlier to that, and it'll be I believe it's a straight knockout tournament. It's been hosted by Blumint, who have all the info and the brackets and the full structure of the tournament over on their site. So you can find the links to that through live.atomichub.io, and then just click on the blockchain brawlers game day. But yeah, it's blockchain brawlers gameplay is certainly unique. It's unique for a number of ways. First off, having this kind of poker-esque card game, but then having it wrestling themed. Then the fact that Richard Garfield had a hand in the actual design of the gameplay itself. So
that's a big selling point for me.
Creator of Magic the Gathering. Yeah, absolutely. He's a busy man lately, Richard Garfield. He's dabbling his hands in a whole bunch of Web3 and non-Web3 projects. I wonder if you just prompted this thought. I wonder if Eddie knows Richard Garfield. Eddie Fear. Oh, that's a good question. Well, he was there
at the inception of Magic.
Yeah,
right?
The inception of Magic. So that
you'd think so.
That could be, yeah. Oh, that might be something to ask him if we next get him back on the podcast.
Get them both on the pod.
Oh, that'd be great.
And then we just sit in the background and just listen to them chatting about it.
Yeah, they can talk about the history of Magic or something for an hour, and we can just stick that up. But yeah, it should be a great tournament. Wax have kind of really got behind this as well. They held a game night a couple of nights ago as like a casual kind of warm up for the Game Fest, their Game Fest day next week. So yeah, that should be a very fun one for sure. We're blasting our way through these. We're already up to day 4, which is Thursday, June 22nd, and it is Dark Country. Now, I always feel that Dark Country is one of those games that has kind of flown under the radar of a lot of people in the Wax community, myself included. I've played, I think, about an hour or two of it total in my couple of years on Wax, but that's not a reflection of the gameplay experience at all. I kind of feel it's a quite a well polished experience. It's a very different flavor to Warsaken, another trading card game we discussed earlier. What are your thoughts on it, Rob?
I really like it. Again, we've done giveaways with Dark Country before, and I've written on the subject of Dark Country being underrated in Web3 as a whole, not only in the Wax community, but in Web3 as a whole, because it's got a lot to it. It's fleshed out, where a lot of TCGs are just, you build your deck and you battle, which is fine. Like, if the gameplay is good enough, you can get away with just doing that. But Dark Country, they added land, and they added a lot of other typically Web3 mechanisms to their game. And I also love their art style. They've got kind of that dark gothic fantasy, which I'm just a fan of. It reminds me of that game we spoke about, God knows how many episodes ago. That survival game. It's an FPS on Steam survival game where you have to get to something and get out. You're in a team of 3. It's kind of
Escape from Tarkov?
No. Am I really gonna have to open Steam while I'm on?
You may have to.
My dad, of all people, absolutely loves this game. He told me for about a year, he's like, you've got to try this game. It's so atmospheric, the sound and everything. And there's a lot of overlap. It's this kind of gothic fantasy, I guess, is the only way you can describe it. And yeah, I just really like that. And you can see they put a lot of work into their art, and a lot of money into their art style. They've got some talented artists on the team. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I haven't really played anything lately. That's the problem. Just because I haven't got time. We've said this before. The dream is working in games because you get to play games all day. But that's not how it works. Nobody told me that.
You play half an hour of a game and then spend another 3 hours getting your thoughts together and thinking, I need to just try this odd thing again to see if it is exactly how I remember it a couple of hours ago. It's a very different experience, that's for sure. But that's
Showdown, by the way, was the game. Hunt Showdown.
I do vaguely remember that.
I feel like they should partner. The two of them should just partner and try and merge their lore, because they've got similar vibes. But yeah, it's a cool, very cool game, very cool art.
Fantastic. So again, there's a Europe and a North America, or Americas, tournament there to equate the two time zones, 16 UTC and 3 a.m. UTC on the 22nd. So yeah, go check in with that. And if you haven't tried out Dark Country before, I think it's a perfect way to get into it. I believe they have kind of both non-NFT and NFT versions. So if you do want to just try it out for free, you can do that. But of course, kind of the main center point of the game and the experience is around, the NFT land and the various NFTs that they have as part of that as well. So
yeah,
there we go. Day 5, Friday, June 23rd, is Avalon. Avalon's a game we've talked about a lot on the podcasts in the past. It's a game that keeps having updates. They've recently had a drop on the AtomicHub Launchpad with their what was it called? A Night to Remember. That was one. And there was some like in-game stat boosting wearables. There was some characters. There was some kind of land and farm plots up for grabs. They also have a drop as part of Game Fest as well, which the access passes for Avalon have been quite pricey up to now. I believe this is the only game in Game Fest where you will have to pay some money to enter. But it's not a $50 pass. AtomicHub brother has spoken to the Avalon team, and we've been able to agree on a limited run of 99 passes for the game, which give you 4 days of access for $2.50. So if you've not been able to try it so far, and if you've got a PC that can handle it, $2.50, 4 days of access, entry into the tournament, you can go try it out. Have you dived into Avalon much, Rob?
Yes and no. Yes, insofar as I had a 3-hour call with the CEO where I was sat, it was last summer, it was boiling hot, and I was sat at my desk, full screen, watching him take me through the Avalon kind of pre-alpha. and tell me their vision for it and what they're doing and how they're writing the lore and how they're building the game and how the game will work. And I'm on their website now, and I've just seen they've added something which I didn't know they'd done. So it's cross-chain. To say it's ambitious is an understatement. It's absolutely insane what he's trying to pull off here. And now I've just seen that they're selling NFTs that has VR integration, which
I believe that's listed on their website.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that before, so that's a new addition. I will say what I've said before, and the team behind Avalon know this is how I feel about the game. There's no way they pull this off, and I say that hoping they prove me wrong. I want them to prove me wrong. The game is ridiculously ambitious. It is an MMO in the true sense of the word, and they are looking to build an MMO that is truly Web3, which is kind of like the holy grail of Web3 games, is building an MMO. MMO is the hardest. I'm going to go off on one here. It's difficult for me to stay level on this, just because MMOs is it's my favorite genre. MMO is the hardest genre of game to pull off because A, it's the most expensive, and B, I would say they've got the highest chance to fail of any game genre. Most fail.
Yep.
It's very, very hard, and it's very expensive and takes a very long time to build.
Mm-hmm.
Then you add in the Web3, and most Web3 games fail. People are trying to figure out blockchain technology. It's mostly indie devs and first-time devs, and there's nothing wrong with that, but obviously it increases the chance that you won't succeed because it's your first go. And essentially, you're blending these two hurdles, very large hurdles, in making Avalon. And it looks incredible. The scope of it's incredible. The lore's incredible. The mechanics are incredible. He was flying around on a dragon. This was last summer as well, so there's been a year of dev since I've properly seen it inside the game. He was flying around on a dragon. He was showing me the different houses and properties you can have and armor. And he sold it to me. It didn't take much selling. It's a fantastic looking MMO, so it didn't take much, but he sold it to me perfectly. And I think it's an unbelievable project that I just can't see working. But one day somebody's going to nail one of these, and I hope it's him. I hope it's Danu Games, and I hope it's Avalon. But that is my strange reaction, I guess, to the game. It's I want it to come across as positive because I want it to work as much as anyone. But it seems to me like it's just too ambitious. It's just crazy what he's trying to do. And I know he likes me saying that because he's one of those people that if you tell him he can't do something, they'll then be hell-bent on proving you wrong. And I hope he does. I really do, because it's incredible.
Him and his team are very driven, I'll put it that way.
They are.
And for Game Fest, they're focusing on kind of the most awe-inspiring aspects of Avalon, for lack of a better phrase. So the tournament, I believe, will be kind of a bracket single knockout affair. But basically you'll have, and this is kind of the reason for the access passes, you'll have a couple of days kind of level up your character, get familiar with the game and the mechanics, etc. And then I believe the plan is to have everyone fight on atop their dragons, and it will be this kind of it's either going to be a knockout or like a last man standing kind of affair, but it should be ridiculous to watch.
When you were saying, because I didn't know what format this was taking yet, and when you said, there's going to be a knockout tournament, I'm thinking your character's going to be dueling. No, of course, they're on the back of dragons. I mean, it's just the ambition that team has is just, if you could bottle it and sell it, that'd be a better product.
Yeah. So if the idea of some dragon back duels sounds up your alley, then get your hands on one of those tournament passes for $2.50 and get yourself involved. I will quickly note the system specs. Their minimum system. They've got the system specs listed on Blumint, so if you go and sign up, you can go and see the system specs there. But you're required 30 gigs of available drive space, which I know with seeing some AAA games nowadays get up to the 100 gig kind of range, but that's a heap full. They also, as minimum requirement, you need 8 gigs of RAM kind of a mid 4000 tier i5, and then a GX 1060 or better. But they're recommended. It's not terrible, but I mean, the recommended requirements are 16 gigs of RAM, an i7. I assume a beefier graphics card, but they've not listed one here. So yeah, I think if you want to play it in a half decent frame rate, you'll need a half decent PC. So it is PC only, as with I think all the games on this list, at least for now. Anyway, I know some of the games have plans to go beyond that, but yeah, go to live.atomichub.io, go click on the Avalon game day, and you can find out all the system specs and all the info on how to sign up and all that good stuff. Day 6, Saturday, June the 24th, so kind of the big weekend premiere games here. We have the Forge Arena, which is unique out of all of the ones that are part of Game Fest, because all the others you sign up as an individual. Forge Arena, you'll have to find a group of people to play with, because it is a straight 5v5 team-based tournament. The last time I played the Forge Arena was, I want to say, about 6 months ago. I think it was just before they shut the game down, when they announced, oh, hey, we're going to the Epic Games Store and we're upgrading to UE5 and a bunch of other things. So have you played the game more recently than me, Rob? Or
I played it last week.
Are you looking further back?
Actually.
But, oh, wow.
I played it because I was in a conversation with several people on Twitter about our favourite weapon skins. And then someone said, actually, before they said you should go and try it now and have a look, I was already updating it. And I jumped in and had a couple of games, just deathmatch and stuff, to see how it feels. It's no secret, it is my favourite game on Wax. Is it? Yes. I'd say it's my favourite game on Wax. It's just, if you like Valorant, if you like CSGO, you'll like Forge Arena. I mean, it's as simple as that. And if I had to guess, I can't remember his name. So when I was making the video on Forge Arena, which is it's on our YouTube channel, when it was first available to play, I was in their Discord joining pickup games, for days and days straight. There's a guy, there's about 3 people who are very, very good already. But there's one guy who's absolutely amazing. I can't remember his name. If him and those others put a team together, they're winning that tournament. So you're going to need some decent players to compete, because there's people that have already been spamming the alpha, queuing up regularly. So yeah, I think it's a great game. I think it's very well designed. The team behind it have experience with these kind of FPSs, the esports FPS, and it just feels good. So for me, I grew up playing, I was playing CS1. I think I started playing CS at like 1.2, 1.3.
Wow.
The first CS, when it was very, very new. What I loved about it was the same thing I loved about Unreal Tournament, which was the gunplay just felt good. It felt accurate, it felt sharp, felt precise. Forge has that, and as graphics have improved, I feel like that has fallen away from a lot of games. And then I think Valorant is a great example, because they made it their mission to create a game that felt as accurate as CS did. No one could replicate what CS had done with the feel of the gunplay, and that's really what makes it an esport. Is that real accuracy where skill expression is so clear. If someone's amazing at aim, then it's obvious, because they'll win most 1v1s, and it just fits into that genre for me. And I enjoy Valorant, I enjoy CSGO. I've never been that good at them. I'm probably marginally above average, but I loved playing Forge. And as soon as it properly opens, and they have a built-in matchmaking system, which was really my only criticism in the video, is that I didn't want to be on Discord having to find matchmaking. I just wanted to click a button on the main menu, which has been in development for a while and will be coming out. So as soon as that's out, I think it's one of the strongest Web3 games. Not even the strongest game on Wax. I think it's one of the strongest Web3 games. So that is my favorite on the list, and my favorite in the Wax ecosystem.
Yeah, it's in terms of quality and in terms of what actual gamers will regard as a good game.
Yeah,
it is probably up there as one of the best. I think it was about 2-3 weeks ago they released their Legacy update, which was kind of their last major update before they switched to UE5.
Yeah.
So, they're still heavily developing the game. There's big things on the way. Their most recent update has a bunch of like balance changes and, changes to maps, and have integrated some old maps just having all this good stuff.
I think they've got spectator mode coming as well for more esports focus.
Yeah, which would be... if that's ready in time for Games Fest, that would be great.
Amazing. I think it comes up with the UE5 update, so it might not be.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It'll be a fun time nonetheless, and hopefully some of the people playing in that will stream their POV, so we can at least get to see some of the gameplay from inside the game there. But it's a 5v5 tournament. All the sign-up info is on live.atomichub.io/AHGF. It's /Game Fest. That's the one. The European tournament starts June 24th. 16 UTC, NA, or the Americas tournament, June 25th at 1 a.m. UTC. So, a whole bunch of crypto and NFT prizes up for grabs as part of that.
Nice.
So, get yourself involved. That brings us on to day 7, Sunday, June 25th. And this is Acryptia, which is a game that's part of the Taco universe, I suppose I'd call it. Have you had a chance to play Acryptia, Rob?
Again, I have. I actually think I've played everything on the list.
Oh, wow.
Which feels weird because I haven't really been playing many games. But the reason for this is I've been working a little bit with the Coco of Alien Worlds, and Alien Worlds did a event called the A2 Boss Battles event in Acryptia. I heard someone call it Acryptia the other day, and then I went through a real loop of, am I wrong? Can I not read? So I'm glad to hear you say Acryptia. It makes sense given crypto, but still. It was. I don't know if you saw the event, but it was pretty cool. So it's I don't really know what to call it. Roguelite TCG? What is the genre?
Yeah, I've just been calling it a card-based roguelite.
Okay.
Because you don't really... It's weird because it's a card-based game, but you don't really collect
No, you don't.
cards.
So, it's not a TCG. You're right.
Which is odd.
Roguelite card game.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So for those of you that haven't played it, it's... so you start off on floor 1. You start off with, I think it's like 13 health or something. And basically a bunch of cards will pop up in the top row, and the bottom row is basically either what you have equipped or what's in your bag. And in the top row you'll find some weapons, some armor, some coins, sometimes some like health potions or things to increase your health. And basically your job is to equip the items when you can, and then use those items to defeat the creatures on the board. And then, of course, try and not die. I think the highest floor I've gotten up to is... I've definitely gotten above floor 10. I think it's like 11 or 12 or something. But some hardcore players of the game have gotten up to some ridiculous floor counts. Like, I'm talking 3 times as high as like I have got. So, there's definitely an aspect of luck involved, depending on what cards pop up. There's also a lot of skill involved in it as well, but it's one of those games where you'll try and remain focused, and without really thinking about it, you'll move a card into somewhere that you really don't want it, and then you can't move it back. You're like, oh god, now I have to take 2 damage more than I had to. And it's one of those games where like a single mistake and that can kill your run. But it's super simple to get the hang of. But very difficult, I think, to reach that kind of higher echelon of player. This one does, I think it starts... So this is not just on the Friday. I think this is week long. So it starts on the Monday and ends on the Sunday. And I believe there's a bunch of different ways you can win, quote unquote, here. So there's a couple of different so one of them I assume will be highest floor, or I think it's like most damage dealt or least damage taken or whatever. You can go check the website for that.
They've done, so the Alien Worlds event, there's a boss called Ruggo, which I like to think they chose the word rug, like you're fighting against rugs. I don't know if that was intentional, but it was kind of like a collaborative effort in lore sense, because it was you had to do like 1 million damage to the boss or something, and then there was a leaderboard of who did the most damage to the boss, and that's who got rewarded. Which it's cool. I mean, the Taco team are very talented, and I'm big fans of theirs. And it's a good game, and I like their collaborations with other projects. I think that's interesting. So yeah, it's worth a go if you're into roguelites, which I mean, it's an incredibly popular genre. I did actually have, when I was working on something for Alien Worlds, I wrote down, I don't know if I'll be able to find it, the number of players they had playing this event. It was very high, like impressive. They get seriously good numbers, and I guess it's partially because it's a roguelite and that's a very popular genre, but it does show that the game has been executed very well. It's good. Yeah,
for sure. There is one entry requirement for the Taco tournament, and you need to stake an AtomicHub gem.
That's what they did with Alien Mods.
So I think you need to blend 2 common crafting ingredients, which are very cheap on secondary market. But then you create your AtomicHub gem, you stake that in the game, and then you're eligible for all the prizes. So
I think they've maybe done that to stop bots.
I'd imagine so.
And it's a good system. It's a good way of doing it, because it puts too many steps in for the bots to flood. Yeah,
I think we've tried to, both through AtomicHub's partnership with Blumint and through some kind of more tangible steps with the games themselves. For example, Acryptia here to do kind of the best we can to make sure that only actual people are eligible for the prizes. But there we go. That's the 7 days of Game Fest. It is the inaugural Game Fest. There will be more that we do in future. I think the plan is for it to become a quarterly event.
Damn.
And without
frequent
going into too much detail, the next one should go beyond the wax chain and incorporate some other chains as well.
A lot of the mutable one with some of the games they got in dev.
Everyone's pretty much aware at this point that AtomicHub's building an immutable integration, and I can't give an exact date because I don't know, but I think we're nearing the end of the inaugural development cycle for that. So
fingers
crossed that'll be coming out soon, and then it'll just be the case of iterating and updating it, fixing all the bugs, and doing all that good stuff. So there we go. $3,000 prize pool. If you're not doing anything else next week, or whatever it is you're doing, throw yourself into any of these games that you can do. Everyone who takes part, at the very least, gets a participation NFT. Those will be revealed, I believe, sometime next week. And for those in the higher positions, you'll get your participation NFT. You'll also get some winner NFTs as well. And of course, some additional NFT and cryptocurrency-based prizes on top of that. So there's a lot to play for sure. And it's great to be not just holding a week-long tournament of games, but also having a bunch of drops set up that are specifically designed to make some of these games, which are quite complex, as easy to get into as possible. For example, that $1 Warsaken pack that gives you 18 cards. Yeah, they're not going to be the best cards you can have, but they'll get you in the game, and it's skill-based. So, you could end up placing the top 10 and getting some good prizes out at the end of it. Who knows?
I have one final question for you.
Go for it.
I have a rough idea, but I'm going to just ask you as if I don't.
Sure.
What is Blumint?
That is a very good question. So Blumint as a platform is kind of the go-to for Web3 game tournaments. So they're partnering with us to run the kind of organizational side of the tournaments themselves for us. So, tracking the brackets for tournaments and who's won and who's lost, and making sure everyone's eligible to enter because they hold X NFT or they hold that AtomicHub gem or whatever the case may be. But they don't just cover wax, they cover games across a whole range of blockchains. I mean, if you go to their homepage right now, they're running a whole bunch of $50 tournaments for games on a whole bunch of blockchains. So they're running a $50 community tournament for Dark Country right now, actually.
Oh, really?
Right now, there's a live tournament for the Bornless. There's EV.io. They're running an Asia-based $50 tournament right now. A game called Moken's League. Not heard of that.
No, I've not heard of that.
Cards of Eternity, I have heard of. Yeah, there are a whole bunch of games that are involved across a whole bunch of chains. So, if you're a fan of Web3 games, you're competitive, you want to earn a little bit of crypto or, a share of the prize pools they have on offer, then head on over to Blumint.com. You can sign in and then just start signing up for these games and get involved.
It is Blumint.com, not Blumint.eu, which is high-quality European fashion for young boys.
Yeah, something tells me that probably isn't it.
Quite different.
Yeah, they have held some rather large tournaments in the past. I mean, lately it's all been a lot of very regular tournaments. So if you go on the site, they'll be like, every week there'll be 4 or 5 $50 prize pool tournaments. But in the past, I believe they were the main partner to hold the... I think it's some of the original... I'm just going to make sure I get this right by scrolling down. So bear with me a second. I don't want to get this wrong.
That's all right.
Yes, that is correct. So Undead Blocks. So they were the kind of tournament partner for the Undead Blocks tournaments that have happened throughout this year. So April this year, they did a $10,000 prize pool Undead Blocks tournament. They did a $7,500 one before that.
Wow.
So yeah, whereas they do have some kind of regular smaller prize pool tournaments, they do also hold larger tournaments as well. And speaking of tournaments, I know, speaking to the Forge Arena team, that they have promoted for a long time the idea that they're going to have this $1 million Ascendance tournament.
Yeah.
Whether they can get that off the ground or not, who knows? But I mean, if they can, then that's great. But it seems like Blumint is one of a number of platforms that are really driving kind of Web3 esports in a way, or at least a competitive side to Web3 gaming, which I think we're going to start to see more and more of over the remainder of this year and heading into 2024. So
yeah, it's a really cool platform. I had a look at it the other day, and I'm back on it now. It's a good system. I mean, we've known for a while that blockchain, using smart contracts to automate esports, is something that will be very valuable as we iterate on that. But this is a great platform if you want to host even just a little tournament for perhaps your community playing a game. You could do your own tournaments on here for Undead Blocks, and if you're interested in Undead Blocks, you should listen to our episode with Grant Hazley, who is the founder and what was his title? Founder and something. Executive Director.
That's the one.
There's so many titles in business, but in Web3, I feel like there's so many titles. I was talking to someone about this. This is a proper side point. Now the episode, the wheel's coming off, whatever. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were talking about made-up job titles. And the first one that came to me was that guy. Oh God, the guy who wrote Snow Crash, Neil. Is it Neil?
Oh, I can't Neil Stevenson, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Neil Stevenson. And didn't he join like an aeronautical company as chief futurist?
Chief futurist.
Was that it? I was talking to someone the other day about it. I was
I love that.
It sounds like he's welding robots in a lab somewhere. It's just the coolest title. I wish that was my title.
There's so many influencers on Twitter and in LinkedIn as well that put futurist in their bio.
Yeah,
and whenever I look at it, I think, what do you actually mean?
What does that mean? We're all heading into the future at the same pace, mate.
I think we're all futurists in one way or another. Yeah. But I mean, if you're paying particular attention to it, then I guess that makes you a futurist. I don't know.
I play mainly very old games, so I'm going to call myself a pastist from here in.
Oh man, but yeah, there we go. AtomicHub Game Fest, June the 19th to the 25th. If you haven't done already, head to the website live.atomicHub.io/gamefest. Go check it out and check out all the games on launch, all the drops taking part or being held as part of Game Fest on wax.AtomicHub.io/launchpad. They're all super cheap, and some of them give you some real kind of tangible benefits, whether it's the $1 Warsaken pack, the the $2.50 Avalon pass, I think it's the $4.99 CritterCraft cosmetic, but that also gives you a free airdrop and a bunch of other things as well. So yeah, it's all cheap. It's all cheerful.
The bear market's so much better for this stuff because I'm sick of the $600 to play a pre-alpha proof of concept. It's just a joke. I'm writing an article about a game at the moment called Sparkball, and you cannot give them your money. Like, it's not possible to give them any money at all. They're not selling any NFTs. It's a blockchain game, but they're not selling any NFTs. You can't buy early access passes. You can't buy anything for this game. And I just want to high five the entire team for.
Is that the one that used to be called Eden Brawl, and then they changed their name?
I think at one point it was, but they've completely changed the game.
Okay.
At least when I covered Eden Brawl, it looked completely different. It's now a mixture between League of Legends and Rocket League.
Okay, interesting.
And I mean that. You've got 3 lanes. It's 4v4, 3 lanes. But at either end of the lanes, is a goal, and there's a ball that you need to score.
Interesting.
They've got an early access playtest coming up next weekend, which I'm writing about just before I came on the pod.
Yeah,
they're crazy concept.
Their early access is coming up on Steam as well, which is
because they're not. So they've only ever done one NFT drop, which was free, by the way, and that's it.
Okay.
They did one skin and it was free. It's on Magic Eden for secondary sales, but that's it. And they won't accept any money because I was like, I'll buy early access and maybe I'll review it. Can't buy early access, can't buy anything, can't give them any money, and I just want to high five them all. I love this, and like the $1 Warsaken packs. Like $2.50 access pass for Avalon. This is more like the inclusive gaming I signed up for in Web3 and gaming in general. We need to stop with these stupid $600 passes for a game that's not even done. Like, come on now.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the Sparkball trailer on Steam, and it looks superb.
It looks pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah,
it looks really good.
I was looking at it earlier. I mean, they're never going to listen to this because this podcast has nothing to do with them. But they tweeted earlier about they were just tweeting some clips, and they tweeted a clip of someone scoring a goal, and I was like, this looks like the slowest, most boring game I've ever seen. But they'd actually slowed it down to like 20%. Except I don't know the game mechanics, so I don't know what's going on. So they made the game look really terrible. And then I looked at the Steam trailer. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. I like LOL. I like Rocket League. I'm in.
I always felt with MOBAs, I mean, as someone who played League of Legends religiously for about 5-6 years and was very, very incredibly briefly in the amateur esports scene for that, I always felt like it was a game that could, like, the premise of having 5v5 in 3 lanes was great, but I always felt like you could do something more with that. Or you could add in a different objective or just something a bit more. And I feel like Sparkball is one of those games that does that. That adds this kind of sports aspect to a MOBA, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's just a little side point, nothing to do with the AtomicHub Game Fest, but it's a very cool game that's got early access coming up. So, perhaps weave that into your AtomicHub Game festivities that you're going to be doing next week.
I love the wordplay.
I try. That's all I have.
There we go. Episode 68 of the Mint One podcast. Rob, where can we find you?
You can find me at AtomicHub.io. What? You can't find me at AtomicHub. Oh, it's so hot. I can't think straight.
In the UK, it's ridiculously warm. It has been all week, and I think we're both dying. So,
I mean, I've got to have. So I'm not allowed my fan on because you can hear it, and I can't have the door open because you can hear everything. So I'm sitting in a room that I reckon's 31 degrees. Like, if we did another hour of this, I think I'd need hospitalisation and an IV to recover. Anyway, you can't find me on the We can find me on AtomicHub. There's no need to. You want to find me on tokengamer.io for the latest blockchain gaming news around metaverses and all things gaming. And we have also started weaving in AI because I can see AI's role in gaming. It's just getting bigger and bigger. And I want to talk about it. So we're weaving that in as well. The app is still doing fantastically, and everything you can play next week at AtomicHub Game Fest is on the Token Gamer app, so you can track all your NFTs on there and see if they go up in value or down in value, or you get a cool mint or whatever. Have a look at that. LinkedIn, using LinkedIn a lot. That's all I can think of other than that. And then obviously subscribe to this podcast. John, you?
Awesome. I would like to quickly add, I can't remember what item it was in Warsaken's range of NFTs they have, but their inclusion in Game Fest and the qualifiers we had like doubled the floor price of some of their NFTs.
Really?
So yeah, it was pretty crazy, but you know, people are excited for Game Fest, and so are we. So for all Web3 news, NFT gaming news, all that good stuff, it's nftinsider.io or at nftinsider_io on Twitter, Instagram, all those places. For me personally, it's at HydroPowered, HYDROPWRD on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. Twitter is the best one for me. And yeah, fingers crossed I'll see you. I'll be playing some part in the official streams that are being run as part of Game Fest next week, so hopefully you'll tune in then. If not, I'm going to very quickly plug this. I have started streaming again. That's twitch.tv/HydroPowered. Right now, not doing Web3 stuff, just doing iRacing. I'm doing some Enduros at the weekend, so if you want to make me less bored whilst I drive around a track for hours,
I will be in there.
Tune in.
Yep, I will be there watching.
But there we go. Episode 68 is in the books. So, again, if you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Apple and Spotify, 5-star podcast review. And if you're on Twitter, follow us at Mint1Pod. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and we'll hope to see you again next week.